What is going on, everyone? Welcome into Big Time Football Talk. So I want to get into this. The Jacksonville Jaguars just made an interesting move a few days ago, cutting Leonard Fournette, who I thought is one of the best running backs in the NFL. And you can put him top 5 to 7 backs in the NFL. I was someone that didn't really understand this move at all because Leonard Fournette, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns in 2017 as a rookie. And just, the 2018 season was kind of like the argument for, probably why they chose to move on from Leonard Fournette, because that was a season that was injury-ridden, the suspension. I think, the organization was really fed up with him on that. And then last year, though, back over 1,000 yards, just 3 touchdowns. But if you really watch Fournette, like I followed him closely because he's on my fantasy team, and I like watching the Jacksonville Jaguars because, when Gardner Minshew was playing well, and, they had that connection with DJ Chark. I kind of, was curious to see how their offense was clicking. But anyways, that he only had 3 touchdowns, but a lot of them were, longer runs, and they got him involved in the passing game. He's not a crisp route runner as a receiving back. Receiving is not really like his main thing, but, he's shown the capability to do it. So they think part of moving on from that was, just he doesn't really fit, Jay Gruden comes in, the offensive coordinator, doesn't really fit the passing game, what they want to do in that case. But, this is just, it's too bad because Leonard Fournette is like a freakish talent. You saw at LSU, he had that game against Ole Miss where he's just like breaking just big gains every other play. You saw that run where he just ran over that dude. There was games where it was just like incredible, some of the stuff he was doing, just throwing the defenders to the ground. Was said to be the next Adrian Peterson coming out of high school. And, really pretty much lived up to that at LSU. But, in the NFL, I think people have kind of forgot the 2,000-yard seasons. I think last year the rookie year, people really remember having a good year. The 13 games, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. But last year, I think people kind of wrote him off after that second year and just kind of, lumped last year in with that, oh, well, he hasn't done anything. And then part of it was people didn't watch Jacksonville last year because they became a train wreck after a few games. I think so. I think the rookie year was kind of forgotten about, and the recency bias the last 2 years really stood out more. And that I think Jacksonville didn't earn his. I guess they're not as a believer as him getting involved in the offense. So Chris Thompson, his teammate, who, Chris Thompson, more of a pass-catching back that they brought into Jacksonville. I think that he fits the offense better. Was shocked that Leonard Fournette got cut because, obviously NFL, other players in the NFL and his teammates know what he's capable of. And then the recent news is Tampa Bay signs him. So this just adds to the weapons that Tom Brady has now in Tampa Bay, which is just incredible. Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones. You just got like a staple of running backs now. The offensive line, a little bit of a question mark, but everyone's saying this is tough to see Tampa Bay not making the playoffs now with all these weapons they have, and a young defense that's improving. This is a team that I'm really anxious to watch in Tampa Bay. It's too bad for Ronald Jones. He's not going to get the chance to shine like many thought, but with all the weapons now in Tampa Bay, this is a team that's going to be hard to see missing the playoffs. So, and it's a team that people are going to watch. They'll be excited about. You likely see him in prime time, and you get to see Tom Brady in that division go against Drew Brees twice next year, at least. Who knows what happens in the playoffs, but yeah. So, and college football is back. That's the big excitement. I'm just stoked for college football, and September 12th has some low key, some decent matchups. You want to look at Duke, Notre Dame. That could be interesting. Duke is people want to just lump Duke in as a basketball school, but they've been under David Cutcliffe. They've been a solid team versus the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, a team that's got pretty high hopes and doesn't really. I haven't heard of any Notre Dame players opting out. He did a preview on Notre Dame football. They got some talented guys, and Kyle Hamilton on defense, Jeremiah Carmoa. How do you pronounce? I forget how to pronounce his name, but Ian Book is a guy that's, returns at quarterback, been there for several seasons now, one of the more productive quarterbacks in Notre Dame football history. But so excitement for the Irish. Braden Lindsay at running back, one of the better offensive lines in the country, if not the best unit. So Notre Dame a team to watch. Florida State versus Georgia Tech. Florida State brings in their new coach in Mike Norvell. Some of the players have had issues with him because of statements he's made, but he's a talented coach and has turned around the Memphis Tigers. So obviously you walk into Florida State, a team that's got a lot of talent. Returns Marvin Wilson, one of the better D tackles in the country, and they've recruited well still over the years, even under Taggart before he left. See how they do against the Georgia Tech triple option. Oklahoma versus Missouri State. This one is might be more anticipated than people would think because everyone wants to see Spencer Rattler, the former five-star, highly touted quarterback, and mostly just because people want to see how the next Oklahoma quarterback does. It seems like Oklahoma's putting out an elite quarterback that gets drafted in the NFL every year, and this year it's Spencer Rattler, who is mobile, has a great arm, and looks like quite the competitor. It'll give Oklahoma a chance to compete for the Big 12 and likely win it again, and have a chance to compete nationally, something they've been doing. Obviously, haven't been able to win any games in the playoffs, but have been right there. So, and other news: Jadeveon Clowney, big news, heading to the Tennessee Titans. They get him for a 1-year, $12 million deal, and obviously has a chance if he has a big season this year, can cash in for the 2021 season. But I really love the Titans defense. You get Jayon Brown, Rashawn Evans, Adoree Jackson. You got guys, Harold Landry. You got guys drafted first round, second round off this defense. Rashawn Evans a late first round. Harold Landry's a guy that in college was super productive at Boston College. He's showing flashes. Jeffrey Simmons, a guy that they got who was dealt with injuries at Mississippi State and a little bit last year. But this is a team that also added Vic Beasley. This is a team that's got a lot of speed on defense, can rush the passer, experience in the secondary. You look at all three levels of their defense are very solid. So I'm excited to see this Titans team next year, and I just want to see Jadeveon Clowney healthy. I think that's what everyone wants to see. He's obviously similar to Leonard Fournette, just freakish talent. I think both work ethic for them is kind of what's caused some injuries. I don't think they're always in the best shape because it sounds like their work ethic is just kind of like okay, but. Obviously, guys, if they're healthy and they're focused, they know what they're capable of. And Jadeveon Clowney can, keep improving this Titans team that already made quite the playoff run with Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry leading the way on the offensive side of the ball. But so a lot of excitement for the Tennessee Titans heading into 2020. The Lions reportedly signed a 1-year deal. Moving on to other news with the Detroit Lions, 1-year deal with Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson, I think this has to do with DeAndre Swift has been banged up in practice, which is something that concerned me because of his frame. And Kerryon Johnson, obviously, he's had the injuries the first. How many years has he been in the league now? First two seasons with the Detroit Lions. I think this move is just part of they needed a third guy because that's proven because with Swift and Kerryon Johnson banged up, you got to have someone run the ball. You've seen the Lions offense, when they can't run the ball, it's just it puts too much pressure on Stafford to try to just swing the ball around the yard, and that's just not a way of success in the NFL. So Peterson 800 yards last year, 1,000 yards the previous season. They just want to see what he has left. I just it's kind of like a Lions move because they usually get guys. I don't think there was probably a lot of calls for Adrian Peterson. They usually get guys that have I don't want to use the term washed up, but look kind of over the hill, and this is kind of like the last stint. But, I root for Adrian Peterson. In his prime, he's one of the most freakishly talented running backs I've ever seen. Watched his highlights the other night. I mean, good God, the guy is just the ability to cut he used to have and the speed. Lost a step, but you saw how hungry he was a couple years ago in Washington. So I hope he's got something left in the tank because he is a you can't question the talent and the work ethic he's had. I remember back in the day at Oklahoma, they used to watch him go work out. The guy was just an animal in the weight room, and he's a physical specimen that, that has kind of been the ideal running back that if you could build a running back, you talk about like Julio Jones and Kelvin Johnson. If you could build a wide receiver in Adrian Peterson's prime, that was kind of like the perfect running back you'd want to build. Would be an Adrian Peterson type, but yeah. So a lot of excitement going on, guys, right now with college football back and NFL football back. Let me know in the comments if you guys want to see some fantasy football videos. I think I'm going to start getting into that. I'm going to do some DraftKings this year. So if you guys want to hear some videos on, fantasy football or DraftKings, because I know tomorrow's my last draft. I know this is kind of like the last weekend for fantasy football drafts, and also the NFL kicks off this Thursday versus the Cardinals and Texans. This is exciting to me because David Johnson, if he's healthy, he's capable of being one of the better running backs in the NFL. Curious to see how much they use David Johnson in just week one. But David Johnson is, could be crucial to this offense. Also have Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks had high praise for Deshaun Watson. I'm interested to see the connection they have because Brandon Cooks is a very explosive wide receiver. And, obviously versus the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the most explosive offense in the NFL. It is going to be a showdown, rematches of last year's AFC championship that was, last year of AFC's divisional game where the Texans blew a 24-0 lead and just kind of collapsed. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Big Time Football Talk. Make sure to stay tuned for more of the latest episodes from the show. Until next time, peace.